Hello YouTube, today we're taking a look at the Crypt the Great Wolves, Morocco of the West by Loose Collector. I only really ever heard of Loose Collector because of these figures, and I'm not sure if they're an indie company or anything like that, but he looked really sick, and I kind of had to pick him up because I just really like werewolves and thought he would have made a very good monster addition to my collection. So I don't have anything set up because he's too big to really film normally. So like I have my phone up here on this shelf part of my desk, and he's down below it. So because he's just way too huge to film without this sort of setup. But first, we're going to take a look at the box as usual. Make sure he's standing. And as you can tell, his package is massive. A very nice render of him there on the front. The crypt up here, Morocco of the West, that's his name. The Great Wolves, the line this is from, and Loose Collector's logo down here, with a nice render of Morocco there on the front, which looks pretty damn good. The side of the box is a side profile of his face, and then the other side of the box is a front profile of his face, with the logo down there. And then the back just has advertising for the other three werewolves in the collection, Garros, Delim, and Vozlak, which the main difference is the color scheme of them and their names. But I went with Morocco just because gray would look best. And then it has a little lore blurb here on the back that reads, I peer upon the icy north, and there rules mighty Vozlok from the dark east, lurks Delim of the shadows. Within the west mountains the fiendish Morocco, and from the windy plains of the south regal Garros. Feared and revered by all lycanthrope for their wisdom, supernatural power, immense size, and sheer ferocity, behold the great wolves of legend, immortal ancestral wolves of old, they who first gazed upon the moon to receive both its benediction and its curse. So it has a neat little lore blurb there on the back, which is pretty fun. And then the inside of the box is literally just the plastic tray with nothing else. The inside of the box is just white with nothing interesting aside from the tray. Now, accessory inclusion for him, he only has hands, and I knew that getting him. He doesn't come with anything except for some posing hands. He comes with two fists, left and right. He has his right one on right now. Two of these more relaxed slashing hands. He has the one on his left arm right now. And then these two wide open claw hands, which have been kind of useful for like crouching poses that I've managed to get him into. And all of his wrists are on a hinge ball joint, so you can rotate them and hinge them as much as you want. And the hinge is pretty functional. It's kind of sort of ratcheted, but not really, and it feels good to manipulate. But all of his hands are fantastic looking. The same detail can be said about all of them. The shading, the color, the paint, the nails all look fantastic. And they're very chunky and soft, sort of soft plastic too. The fingers are a bit soft, so there's not much worry about them breaking. Now I'm going to move those off to the side and get into Morocco now himself. He is stunning to look at. A genuine visual treat. Like, he looks amazing. His paint is mostly gray and white, as you can tell. Black for his claws and nails. His teeth are a very nice white, with his gums being painted red, reddish pink, almost like a burgundy. And his tongue and the inside of his mouth has a very glossy wash in it, so it looks wet. It's not actually wet, obviously, it just looks that way. But his head sculpt is fantastic. His eyes are yellow and very piercing. His nose looks great. There's so much color variation and breakup that it's really impressive. And his mouth is just on a hinge, so you can close it and open it as much as you want there. The lower canines sort of friction into the upper jaws to stop it from falling out. But it locks itself in place pretty well. But he's a unit of a man. God, he's giant. I just like the character design of this guy a lot. I've never seen better werewolf design. Personally, I love this guy's look. Now, his head is a very soft plastic, so like his ears are squishy. His beard is, this whole neck floof is a separate piece and is very, very squishy and soft. And so are his fingers, as I said. Like, these aren't real, none of his hands or his head is really at risk of breaking easily because it's a soft plastic. And so are his teeth. But articulation on this guy is kind of hard to take advantage of because his joints are so stiff, especially his diaphragm, and his left shoulder is very, very stiff, but not bad. I can't tell if it's ratcheted or on just a very strong ball joint. But let's get the easiest thing to move out of the way. His tail is literally just on a ball joint at the base. So you can position his tail however you want. You can angle it outwards or closer to his body, rotate it, the whole 9 yards of that. It's just a single ball joint. But his sculpt and shading is impressive. Like, you can see him. He looks wonderful to look at. It's mostly flat gray, but the shading of white mixed with gray in his chest area up here is insane looking. They're just little divots. And this neck part has white down here on the bottom to match with his jaw, so it should be facing down this way, but you can rotate it however you want. Now, paint sculpt is perfectly fine. It's great looking. I have no genuine problems with it whatsoever. Oh, also his tail is white on the bottom side of it, which is a bit strange because you think that white would be on the outside, but whatever. And that white all continues into his back and is much more dispersed and spread out on his back. God, he's fucking huge. I'm not over how big he is. But the sculpt and paint is gorgeous. Absolutely no problems with it. And his feet are half white and half gray behind the toes. And the bottom of his feet are not painted, which is kind of lame. I would have liked black or pink paws, but whatever. Now, articulation, hard. It's a little hard to take advantage of and do on him because his joints are so strong in certain places. His head, I'm just going to pop it off and show you, is on a dumbbell ball joint, so this whole joint can move and shift as much as you need it to, or as much range as it can get. So with that, you can lower his head down, you can lift it up a bit more, you can shift his head off to the sides a little bit. It's kind of hard to show on camera, I think, but like you can see, his head is shifting from side to side. You can do that sort of stuff. And his neck is just on a ball joint, so you can rotate and turn and twist his head as much as you need to, as long as it can work. He can look down very, very far though, and looking up is not as easy, but that's what you're going to get for looking up. His head is just a little bit limited, but you can get plenty of nuance posing with it. And it can rotate. And if you take this fur off, I'm pretty sure you can get more out of it, but I don't want to because that would kind of ruin the aesthetic in my opinion. His head is very, very good though. Shoulders are a ball hinge, so you can just rotate them as much as you want to. Again, very tight. Those are just a ball hinge. They can rotate all the way, or they can hinge out. He also has a bicep rotation and a shoulder rotation. But that bicep rotation works just like you'd expect. It's very strong though. Oh my god. See? Yeah, bicep rotation. A double jointed elbow that will stop it about there. Wrist rotation and hinge, as I mentioned earlier, so you can rotate them, hinge them all you need to. Midsection, his diaphragm joint is very strong, and I cannot get it to move, so I'm not even going to bother with this upper section. But his waist rotation Works pretty fine. It can crunch a little bit. Not amazing, though. At least on my copy, it's too strong. And also, this fur on the bottom of his arms is soft, too. His waist is soft plastic, so it's going to squish and move. But his thighs work how you would expect them to. He has a thigh rotation, a bit limited, but not bad. He can kick forward far, straight out, basically. And he can kick backwards about that far before it stops itself. And his knees, you know, you have a double jointed knee here, this hinged knee, and a swivel and a rocking foot that also kicks back and forward. So, you know, you can just... he's very strong, very hard to move him. You can straighten the legs out if you want to. The foot and this joint both rotate, so you can do that. Or if you want it to be straight, you can just rotate the foot by itself, which is... I accidentally closed YouTube on my browser, which, you know, you can just... Oh, the foot doesn't rotate. I was wrong. Okay, so you do rely on this ankle to rotate the foot. Okay, but the feet can kick forward and back decently well. His knees are very hard to move and balance him. It's hard to balance him because he's so top heavy, but no, he's great. This was just a quick little upload, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, but he was worth the money, in my opinion. I hope you guys have a good one, but I'm out. Peace. He was well worth the money. See ya.